Hi guys, it's me, Elizabeth Martinez, with another silhouette tutorial. Today's tutorial is making a rhinestone template. I'm not sure how many of you guys have actually made rhinestone t-shirts, but those that have, in Silhouette, we can actually make a template to make those rhinestone designs. Those rhinestone designs, you do need a little bit of material. You need obviously the rhinestones, you need the backing, you need the transfer sheets, and obviously the template. I had to make a list of what all was needed. So for those of you who have never maybe made one, it's those, the rhinestones that we're looking for are actually going to be a flat back, and they are adhered by heat. So I believe when you're looking for the rhinestones, make sure that they're flat and that you can adhere them by pressing them as you would with HTV onto your shirt or material. So that's one thing that you need to keep in mind when you're looking for the rhinestones. I'm sure you could use the stick-ons. Again, they're not going to last if you were to wash it. So what we're looking for is actually the ones that are heat activated to be pressed into your t-shirt. So with Silhouette, it is not offered with the free edition. You do need to purchase one of the upgrades to be able to create these designs. So today I'm going to show you how to create a wording and actually take an image that you purchased and create a rhinestone design. So let's get started. Let's jump right into it, and we will see what we come up with. Okay, so here we are in Silhouette today, and we're going to start off first with making words to put on your shirt. So I suggest is always maybe pick a font that's quite easy to read. Again, it's all preference, but when you start getting into a script type font, sometimes it can be a little difficult to read. So just keep that in mind when creating your design. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to the right-hand side. I'm sorry, the left-hand side, and we're going to go ahead and type in our words. So let's just type in, I know a lot of the cheer moms like these types of shirts. So we'll just go ahead and type cheer on here. And again, you could type up as many words as you needed. So we're just going to go ahead and just type cheer for right now. And let's make sure our cutting mat, because we are going to be using our cutting mat, is set to the 12 by 12. Okay. So there is our words. Then we're going to pick a font. That font is pretty basic, so we could actually leave that font if we liked it, or we could choose a different font. And I'm going to actually choose a different font. There we go. I'm going to choose. And you know what? I'm actually going to do two different fonts. I'm going to do a block font, and I'll do a script font. So let's go ahead and just do this one. And then I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to do a script font just so we can see the difference on that. Okay, so I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger, and this one as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and work with our block font as first. So the first thing we're going to do is come over to our right-hand side, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom, down to this arrow. So when you've run out of options, you get this little arrow right here, and you've got a few other options that the program allows you to do. And of course, this is going to be available in one of the upgrades. Again, the free option does not have this function. So just keep that in mind. So we've got Rhinestone panel, and that's what we're going to be using today as our Rhinestone panel. So right here, we're going to, you've got a couple of different effects. Obviously, this one is none. This one is going to give you an outline of the words or your image. This one is going to fill it in, and so is this one. These two are a little bit similar, but it's all about the placement. So again, you might want to play with this when you're creating your design. The next thing you're going to want to know is, which is very important, is what size stones are you going to be using? Are you going to be using a small stone, a big stone? So if you're familiar with any type of rhinestone, if you've dabbled in it, you know that there's different sizes that can affect how many you're actually going to need to fill in your design or the outside of your design. Then we've got the spacing, so we'll go over that in a minute. And then here is the really neat thing about this. So once we select the size rhinestone, it will actually tell you how many rhinestones you need. So if we're using a small rhinestone, it'll tell you all of them, all the number that you need, and so forth. So let's just go ahead and let's start off with doing the edging. So say for instance, you created this wording in HTV, and now you just want to outline the word with the rhinestones. So what we're going to do is going to hit the edge, and then we're going to select our sizing. So if you noticed, it automatically went ahead and it converted the words into little bitty rhinestone cutouts. So the first thing we're going to do is the next thing we're going to do, I'm sorry, is select our rhinestone. So right now we've got it at probably one of the smaller stones. And if you noticed, once I start clicking on these, you're going to start seeing the rhinestones getting bigger, and the number of stones will be changing. So for right now, we've got the small 6SS, and just for this word and just to outline this word, it's 379 stones will be needed. So we click on 10, you'll need 314, 262, and you can see how the stones, the circles are actually getting bigger. So the purpose of this template is, when you're doing the rhinestones, is we actually have to cut these templates out with our Silhouette or our Cricut. So this is just setting up the template to take it to your mat and cut it out, and then adhere the stones on top of the template to fix them in the proper order. And then if we do the big one, the 20 SS, you'll need 204. So if you notice, the bigger the stones we got, it looks the E, and it looks a little bit not discombobulated, but it's just a little bit more difficult to read because we've got bigger stones, and everything looks a little ran together. So what we can do is actually do the spacing. So if we adjust the spacing, you can see they start spreading out, and now you can't even make the word out. So just be mindful when you're doing that. So I've reduced it all the way down to 0, and now the spacing looks a little bit better. But if you noticed, right over here, right in this area, there's a couple of here. When we go to cut that, these two, it's probably going to cut one big circle versus two individual circles. And this right here is probably going to overlap, but we can fix that. So I will show you that in just a second. But let's go ahead and go, let's try some of the different effects, and then I will show you how we can correct that. So again, this is just to do the outlining of the wording. This is not doing a full fill of rhinestones. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these back down to the smaller ones because I actually think that's easier to read. And again, if you notice, we've got some spacing issues here. So if we adjust that, it just gets really discombobulated. So let's just keep it just like that. And let's go ahead and go, say we wanted to fill the entire word with rhinestones. We weren't going to do HTV first. We want the complete word full with rhinestones. So we're going to select this one. And we now have our entire word filled with rhinestones. So if we're using the 10SS, we're going to need 787 rhinestones to fill this template out. So again, this is just to prepare your project. This is just to prepare, this is just to make the cutout to place your rhinestones on. So keep that in mind. And then if we select this radial fill, it kind of spaces them out a little bit. It's just a different fill. It'll fill your words differently. So again, it's just preference. Again, we've got a little bit of spacing issue here and right here. I kind of like this one. This one looks a little bit more aligned versus this one. And if you notice, there's a couple of extra little stones here, in the H up here, the E. Again, we can fix, that is all fixable. So I just want to reiterate that this is just a template to purely cut your vinyl to prepare to place your rhinestones. Okay. So how do we fix this? How can we fix this? Very easy. So right now, if we click on this, it's still one image. So what we want to do is we want to release rhinestones. So we're going to click on that. Takes a little bit, but what this is going to do is actually going to release each one of those rhinestones so we can move it. So that looks a little scary. Don't worry. We just want to click out of it. And now, so this looks, that looks a little scary. So at this point, we could actually start moving some of these individual rhinestones or deleting them. So for instance, you know what, let's do it. This one really got, that one really got separated somehow. So let's just do it again. Let's go back and pick that font. Okay. And then go back to our rhinestones. Okay. So I'm actually going to do, I'm going to copy because I want to do this. I want to show you two different things. So let's go back to the outline. We want to release rhinestones. Because remember, we had some of the overlapping. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. It just helps. So if we were to go cut this out, you can see we've got some overlapping. We really zoom in. So like right here, it's got a few extra rhinestones right here. We actually don't need this one. So you can actually take it and move it. Sometimes it's a little difficult to grab. But at this point, this is where you could actually start adjusting your stones, removing them and adjusting them. So see, like right here, we've got some overlapping. You could actually adjust that. So see, we could move that if we wanted to. See, we could actually take that off and maybe move it back, move this down and delete that. Let's see, we've got a couple of duplicates. We could just kind of, and this, it will take a little bit of work, granted. See, maybe move that right there. Maybe move this down a little bit. But for the most part, you have a template. Again, this could take some work to clean it up a little bit, but this is a lot easier than trying to create a template on your own with all the little circles. So this is just a quick and easier. Again, there is some cleanup depending on your image and what you're going for. So let's go ahead and bring this back and do the full. So that was on the outline. So here is, so let's go ahead and do one with the full. And you can see we're going to have some there. Let's see. I like this 10 better. Let's go ahead and release rhinestones. Because at this point, when we first do it, if we don't hit release rhinestones, all we can do is just move the image. We're not able to actually move these stones into place. And yeah. So this one's going to definitely take a little bit of clean up to do that. I'm just curious. Let's try something else real quick. Okay, so I'm back to my one word. Let me try, I wonder what happens when I do my spacing. I bring that down to 0 and release. See if that helps any. That looks a little bit better. It's still a little discombobulated. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to again, this is just really helpful. It'll get you started to where you need to be as far as a template. But it can be a little time consuming if you're having to rearrange it a little bit. So here's something with a script. So when you do the outline, it's not so bad versus doing the fill. That actually doesn't look so bad. Let's just try a smaller. See, I like the smaller font right there. That's really, really small. So we've got a size of the 0. That's super small. So this other tab right here is an advanced rhinestone tab. So this, we could actually, if we knew the color that we were going to use, say we were going to use this blue, actually, it will show up and it'll show you what your image could possibly look like. And then there's some other. So we're back to, do we want to fill it? Do we want to do an outline? Let's go ahead and just do the fill. Not quite sure why it's not working with this. This just gives you an idea of what it possibly could look like if you were going to be using a certain stone. I think I like the other one better, the plain version, or just the regular template, creating a regular template. I think that's a lot easier to work with and to view. Again, this is just a template to help cut the material to place your stones on before pressing. So let's go ahead and, what if you had an image? What if there was an image you wanted to use? So let's go ahead and get this little flower. So here's a flower that I got, and say we wanted this to be, again, with rhinestones, say we just wanted the edging, say we've got this all down with our heat transfer vinyl, and now we just want to create a border or an edging. Same concept. Say we've already cut this out, we've already got it pressed, and now we just want to add a little sparkle. So this, again, if you notice, we went from the full image to just the outline, because that's exactly what we want to do, is just cut the outline of the flower, and then it's got even the center. Or say we wanted to do we wanted the full flower and full rhinestones. We've got a full rhinestones, and then we've got the other radial fill. And again, it tells you the total number of rhinestones needed down here. This does take a while, takes Silhouette to think a little bit, so just be patient. So I'm just going to go back to this one. This one looks very simple, very clean. And then what we're going to do is hit release rhinestones. Because at this point, remember, we're still at a one image, and this one worked perfectly. So say, for instance, you didn't want that rhinestone there, you could actually move it or rearrange it. So this would be the perfect cut, the perfect template. There's no issues. This is ready to go. So we could, if you were going to use this in Cricut, remember you could just do a file, save as to your hard drive. Because remember, we need to get it to Cricut, save hard drive, and then we want to save it as an SVG. Again, remember, this is only going to be available if you've got one of the upgrades, and then you could save it as you need it to. So I'm curious. Let's just try let's try and release the rhinestones with a full and see what we get. Let's just try one more. Let's try this flower one more time with a full, with it being cutting out complete. Let's see what this, and I'm just curious. Because that image when we did it was absolutely perfect. I know the words can sometimes come across, as you saw, a little discombobulated, a little ununiformed. So I'm just curious now. Okay, again, so this right now, it's saying we're going to use, if you look down here, the size is going to be a 10 SS, and we're going to need about 4,500 rhinestones to fill this entire image. Again, our image is a 10-inch by 11-inch, so that is a fairly big project. Again, it depends on the sizing that you need. So let's go ahead and release. Of course, the more rhinestones it has to release, the little bit longer that it takes to release them. It's actually pretty neat that it does that. I like the fact that you can sit there and play with it and move the position or the cutouts before you actually go to cut this out with your machine. I have never done a rhinestone project, so if y'all are into doing these projects, I would love to see what you make, if it worked for you. This is definitely next on my list, but I have played with this several times because I think it's just a really neat feature that the system actually is able to do most of the work for you. This way you can just take it straight and cut it and then do your rhinestone placement as needed. So as you can see, it is taking a little bit longer because it is a bigger project, a bigger piece. So again, you just be just be patient. I know sometimes I get really impatient when it's trying to think. So far, it looks pretty good. We'll see what the final outcome is on this. Maybe I should have made it smaller. I probably should have made this a lot smaller. But now for those of you that actually, we'll go ahead and just one more note while this is thinking. I know people do buy these files already made. So if you are one of those people that actually do go out and make these types of projects and purchase files with the upgrade, again, this is not available for free. So it does, you do need to purchase one of the upgrades to be able to have this function. If you do these types of projects a lot, again, this is a great, maybe a time saving feature for you, cost effective. As far as time, depending on what you're doing, it could be time saving. If you're not having to rearrange a lot of stones and overlaps, it could be time saving. Again, maybe purchasing might be better, but simple projects, I think like the outline like we did earlier would probably be great. I think my image is way too big. probably way too big, so it's still thinking. But again, same concept. We're going to release them, and then you'll be able to move your rhinestones. Because if you don't hit release, all you get is the one big image that you can just move around. And if you're fine with that, you can definitely take it to cut and go from there. But if you need to move them, that is how you're going to be able, that is how you're going to be able to rearrange them where you need them to be. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Again, this is something that I have not personally done rhinestone projects, but I have played with it several times in Silhouette just because I think it's a neat feature. I just like to see what, if I was to do it, what all I could do with it. So I've played with it several times and just think it's really, really neat. Let's see, I think it finished. Oh, it did finish. So let me go ahead and share my screen so we can see the finished. It did take a little bit. So look, that's not bad. That's not, I mean, I don't see a lot of adjusting that we need to do. You know what I am going to show you really quick? And I should have showed this to you and I didn't. Bear with me 1 second. Let me see. It's stuck. So let me show you something really quick. Ah. Let me get my program loaded again. Sorry. I just had a thought when I just had a thought and I wanted to show y'all. So let's go ahead and take that this design, and we're just going to let's just go ahead and just do the outline. Select your image. Let's just do the outline. We're happy. We don't need to rearrange anything. You're going to go ahead and hit send. If you have a Silhouette machine and you're going to cut directly from here, and you can see where it's going to cut. So say we were happy with that, we didn't need to move anything. That is how you would cut it. So let me go back to the words. Sorry, I don't mean to be a little bit all over the place on this. Again, it was just a thought that I had. So let's go back. No, that was. I'm just going to leave that font as it is for time purposes. And I hit the cross arrows that I'll have to disable. That's what I've hit. If you see that, I accidentally hit the cross arrows. So let's go ahead and do a fill on that. We got the 10. Say we like that just the way it was and we don't need to rearrange it. Again, if we hit, you can, from here, you can hit File, Save, save as an SVG. This way you can download it into your Cricut machine, or if you have the Silhouette, you're going to hit Send. Select your cutting material, and now you've got your template ready to go and cut. I just wanted to show you that just so you could see what it would look like. The only reason you would release the rhinestones is if you were going to, if you needed to move them or rearrange them. So that's what that would look like. again, it's a really neat thing if you do these projects. If you've done these, if you are into Rhinestone projects, if this helps you, I really would like to see your projects, your Rhinestone projects. Share those in the group. If you need any help with this, feel free to reach out to me in the group, and I'll be more than happy to help troubleshoot with you. So another neat feature we have in our silhouette tutorials. So until next time, any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. See y'all next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.